Welcome back to the channel, my brothers. My name's Andy R, and this is the Brotherhood of Man, and I hope all of you are well, and if you're not well, I hope you get well. Now notice I didn't say get well soon, because that phrase has always left me a little bit cold, I find it amusing, but in the wrong way. Let me explain. Here in the UK, we tend to have cards for a colleague, a friend, one of your relatives who's not well, and you get them a card and it says get well soon. Well, that's always been a bit baffling to me. Surely you want your relative, your colleague, your friend to get well now, not soon. Giving them that card, you basically say, I want you to get well, but I want you to suffer a little bit and then get well. So get well soon. So that's why I said to you, my brothers, if you're not well, I hope you get well. I just find that a little bit funny. It was a little aside. Anyway, what's today's video? Well, you saw the thumbnail, sorry. So you already know. Why does body count matter? Well, it really does matter. But more importantly, body count matters for women. Now, I'm not saying that it's okay if a guy goes out there and he's nothing more than a male sloop. It's jumping from one bed to another, women every different night, all different women. Basically hookup culture. Because that's not good to a man's psyche either. Because there's nothing long term, nothing to build upon, nothing to create a bond between your brother. It's just one woman after another, just one series of wet holes to be filled. And it's not good for a man to do that. Now, between long term relationships, if you're just getting your ashes hauled, okay, go for it. If that's what it is for you, if that's what you're looking for, I'm not going to shame you. But you still are looking for something long term. And this is why it's so important a body count for women. Let me explain, because this needs going into. Men and women are very different creatures. Forget all of this nonsense that we get told now that we're the same, that there's no difference between men and women. Biologically, mentally and emotionally, men and women are completely different. Men's skeletal structure is different. Women's skeletal structure, the amount of body fat that we carry is different between men and women. And even down to our chromosomes, down to the very smallest atoms in our body, we're different. We think differently. In the most egalitarian societies, where all of the constraints of gender have been taken out of the equation, men and women still choose to be in traditional roles for men and women. You see, women are more connected to people. Women like to be connected to people. Men are more interested in things. This is why women tend to go into those careers where people are involved. So they'll go into the caring industry to take care of people. They'll go front of house. They'll go into customer services. They will go into waitressing type jobs. They will go into jobs where they are constantly in contact with other people. Because of their empathetic nature, they tend to want to get to know people. Men are more happy to be left alone, to do jobs where they think of things, where they fix things, where they build things, where they invent things, quite happily on their own to do it, to be left alone, to concentrate on doing that thing. Whereas women like to be in groups of people, sometimes other women, sometimes men and women, sometimes men, but they like to be around people. It's just the way we're built. And like I said, on a fundamental level, if you go to countries that are all of those barriers have been taken away, where a completely egalitarian society where your choice is all that matters, you will find that a high percentage of men still go into those roles where they build things, mend things, invent things and fix things, and women go into those roles where people are involved, like I say, caring, nursing, front of house, customer services, things where they're interacting with people all the time on a daily basis. And this is the difference between men and women, and this is why it's so important with body count for women, because the more times a woman gets into that body count, the more times that she has a failed relationship, nothing long term comes of it, she becomes a little more damaged. And this is why later in life, as in late 20s, early 30s, coming up to the wall time, getting into the danger zone and then the wall, danger zone first and then the wall. This is when she is probably the most broken because she has the most failed relationships behind her. And statistics and surveys have bailed this out, that so many women get into this stage have mental health issues, are on some form of medication, or have problems with substance abuse, and it's all because of the damage that they had by bed hopping. This doesn't tend to happen so much with men because men are more into things. Now, that doesn't mean that men are just materialistic, it's just that we want to buy things and collect things, and we have no emotions to give. It's just that we are more happy on our own, doing our own thing, concentrating on our purpose. And therefore it doesn't affect us mentally as much as it does women. Now, it's important to a man what a woman's body count is because it says so much about what you can expect in a relationship going forward. For instance, if you get with a woman and she went to, say, university. Now, the university setup is that first, probably for most people, time away from their parents' control, away from home. It's a free-for-all. And it's the first time that, as a man, you will meet a massive smorgasbord of women. In fact, it's the only time in your life that you will be surrounded by so many women of all shapes, flavours and colours. And it's the same for women. She's first away from home and will be surrounded by an absolute plethora of different type of men going into different types of career. Now, traditionally, women would use that time as quite literally husband hunting. They would look at who was going to be the best provider for them, get that man tied down as husband material. But now women have got it into their heads that the 20s are for them. It's time to have the hot girl summer, to be free and single, and to do all of the crazy things that they couldn't do while they were at home, and now have got the freedom to do now, and are surrounded by just an absolute sea of men. And so grab it with both hands and say, great, this is for me. Not realising that doing that bed hopping, going from one to another, sexual partners, not settling down, not getting something more meaningful, is actually damaging them. It's only when later in life, when they get late 20s in the danger zone, going up towards the wall, they start to think rationally, I need to settle down, I need to get a man. But so much damage is done to them now that if you're a man looking for a woman in that kind of age group, one, she's less attractive than she was before. Two, she's got a higher body count the older she gets. And three, she's probably on some form of medication, whether it's self-medicating illegally or legally, like drugs and alcohol, or she's on prescription medication for some mental health issue. So many women, I think it's 1 in 5 in the Western world, by the time they get to the 30s, are on some form of medication, whether for depression, psychological issues. And this is all because of not settling down, not being happy, and finding out that they're damaged. You see, women work in a chaotic, drama-driven way. Women, because they are attracted to people as opposed to things, are more like an open nerve. They're easily damaged by a relationship breaking down. So if you're a man looking for some form of long-term relationship and you ask a woman outright, you say, well, how many guys have you slept with? Whatever number she gives you, you should probably double that at least. The reason is that men tend to lie about their body count and women lie about their body count as well, but in different ways. Men tend to exaggerate their body count, so if they've slept with 2 women, they'll go, oh yeah, I've had 5, 10, 20, because they think it makes them look like a desirable stud. And to a certain extent it does. Women know that saying a high number makes them look easy, makes them look like something you don't want to settle down with. So they play down their body count. So if they've slept with 20 guys, they'll say, oh, I've only had 3 sexual partners, or 5, or whatever, somewhere that's usually in the single figures. Well, you know, if that woman's been to university, that's probably not true. You know that if she's in her late 20s, early 30s, that's definitely not true. Because even if she's had one sexual partner every year since she was 18, you know that she's now in double figures. She's at least at 12. So you know that that's just not true, unless she was either married or she was in long-term relationships. But even that is a warning sign, because if a woman's saying to you, I've only had 10 partners and 2 of those were long term, and you say, well, how long were you together? Oh yeah, this one I was together with 2 years, and this one for 2.5 years. Well, that's not long term. That's barely getting out of the we're just getting to know each other stage. And that's why body count matters, because men are natural explorers. We're natural conquerors. We want to know that we're the first to do something with that woman. Now, we know that we're less likely to find a virgin in today's age. Even a young woman in her sort of 18 years old, we're still not expecting them to be a virgin. But we know that the younger they are, the less body count she has. So we're more than likely to be able to explore new things together. When you get a woman who's getting a bit older and she's got a higher body count behind her, we know that there's probably nothing that we're going to be able to do with her or to her that she's not done before with one of the Chads, Tyrones, Leroys that have gone before. So therefore there's nothing really to explore except that she's a new body for us to be with, to be intimate with, a new set of holes that we can fill up, but nothing that we can then say, that's me, I did that, I was the first there, I planted my flag, here I am, I've conquered, I've explored. And that becomes a problem, because if there's nothing for you to build on, nothing to say this is unique to us as a couple, then what is there to build on going forward? So this is why body count matters so much for men when thinking about dating a woman. So one, we can't really take on face value what she says her body count might be. And if she's totally honest and says to you, I've slept with 54 guys, you start to think to yourself, well, why am I special then? I'm not going to be special to you, because you've had 54 sexual experiences before me. And also, there's nothing new I'm going to be bringing to the table that you haven't done already. And what I mean by that is, I can guarantee one of those Chads and Leroys and Tyrones before you has done something better than you. Maybe just one thing. Maybe he goes down on her better than you do. Maybe he's better in, out of 54 guys, maybe one of them was extremely well endowed. Are you? So you're constantly thinking to yourself, how am I supposed to measure up against so many men that you've already had? What am I special about? And the thing is, you start then thinking, what's special about me is that I have resources. You see, that's a game changer for women, is that if you have good resources, if you have good wealth, a good job, good career prospects, good things that you own, a good car, a good home, good whatever, she sees you more as a resource long term rather than as something sexual, a burning sexual desire for you, because she's probably done all of that with the guys before you. So you're already starting off on your back foot. You're already thinking to yourself, there's nothing new I can bring to this table. There's nothing new I can explore with you. There's nothing new for me to plant my flag and say, I'm the first that did that, which is what guys like. So when a woman thinks it's a double standard that men sleep with a lot of women and they're just called a stud, but if I sleep with a lot of women, I'm called a lot of men, sorry, not women. Well, you never know. I sleep with a lot of men, all of a sudden I'm called easy, I'm a scrubber, I'm a slapper, all of those derogatory terms. It's because there is also no game in you sleeping with a lot of men. All you've got to say is, I'm available, do you want me? And men will flock to you. Even if you're just average looking or even downright ugly, you will still get a guy who's going to say, yeah, I'll take you to bed because, hey, I feel like having this and it's a bit better than masturbating. Whereas a guy, to sleep with a lot of women, he has to have game, he has to have something about him that women find attractive. Whether he's worked on himself to get a good body, or he's worked on himself to have good prospects, or he's worked at his patter, his game, his gift of the gab to get her into bed. I can honestly tell you from my own experience, I'm a bit of a joker, a bit of a laugh and a joke. I will strike up a conversation with anybody, and within a short period of time, I've probably got them giggling or agreeing with me, nodding and laughing. And I can do that with women, quite literally laugh them into bed. And then the next morning they wake up going, what happened there? I feel, what? And I'm like, hey, that's fine. Well, that was in my past, not now. But what I'm saying is, a guy has to have some form of game. He has to have something about him that women can find attractive. And that's why men look at other men who do that and go, I can admire that. But they look at a woman who's just saying, hey, I'm here and available, and go, oh no, she's easy. I don't want that. I want somebody that I have to chase. Again, that hunting mechanism, that I want to conquer, I want to explore. That comes out in men when you have to work to get what you want. It means more when you do get it. But it means nothing if a woman just goes, hey, I'm available, here I am, fill me up. We don't want that. No men want that. And that's why I say body count really matters to men when thinking about dating a woman. And women seem to have got it into their head that their most desirable time of life, which is 20 years old or early 20s, is a time for them. When in times past, women were using that time to make sure they use their most fertile and attractive times to attract a man who had a future ahead of him, somebody she could take as a provider, somebody she could take as a protector. Nowadays, women are starting to look for the men they want to settle down with when they start getting to the wall. Some even past and into geriatric pregnancy age, which is over 35. And they're starting then to think, hey, I can delay what was imperative when I was younger to when I was older. Well, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. Science has come a long way in that women are now, at a greater proportion, those who can afford it, doing things like freezing their eggs so that when they're in their 40s and late 40s, think then they can start a family. Well, I'm sorry, but science has only come so far. There are so many inherent problems in that of freezing the eggs that just doesn't work. Women are finding out as well that the body count does matter, and they know that inherently. That's why they very rarely are honest about how many men they actually have sex. Like I say, in surveys and reports, it's shown that men exaggerate their body count and women underplay their body count. Why is that? If they're not ashamed of their body count, surely they just go, yeah, I slept with 340 guys before you. Because they know a guy hearing that would just go, ooh, no thanks. That's really, no. Ugh. Christ. I mean, even if you're clean, there's nothing about you that I can do different. And in fact, I'm going to be inferior to at least one of those 300 and whatever, or 20 or 30 guys. So why would I even want to go forward with this? And women are finding that out. They're saying, oh, I'm fed up with the hookup culture and I can't find a decent man. And I go, well, you wasted your time. You should have had your head screwed on. So, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? By the way, if you enjoyed this video, at least, please, give it a like, because it does help. Also, being subscribed, leaving comments, sharing this video, it helps grow the channel. And the channel's over 500 subscribers now, which is absolutely great. You new brothers that have joined the channel and are enjoying the message I give, share it. Share it with somebody you think will get something out of this message. And also, my existing brothers, you guys have seen me through thick and thin. You were there right from the beginning. You have joined this channel and you've supported me, and you know what, you guys are just brilliant. I can't thank you enough. It humbles me how much you supported me, and you new brothers, I know that you're going to get so much out of this, and if you're not already subscribed, come on in. Why, you're not shy, come and join the Brotherhood. Anyway, my name's Andy R. I'm going for a cup of tea because you know what, I think I've earned one. And I'll talk to you soon. You take care of yourself, because if you don't, who will? Bye bye.